Okay, and can I ask the host to please give me permission to share my screen? It looks like I can't share my screen at the moment.
Oh, 1 second, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, I have enabled the option. You
Yes,
can try
option.
it now.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. And it's working fine. Great. Okay, so in the next few minutes, we're just going to go on and talk around launching your cloud career and, some networking tips. So this is the agenda I actually have. We'll have introduction to like cloud computing, AWS, and some of the career roadmaps that you can have, and some like networking tips. But before we start, can I ask how many of you are familiar with cloud computing and AWS? Can you just put yes or no in the chat? Do you know about cloud? Do you know about AWS? Yes or no in the chat? And that would really be helpful. Okay, let me see. Yes, okay, someone said yes. Okay, anyone else? Cloud, AWS, or you're just starting to learn? Yes, okay, great. Okay, cool. So I would just, even though like you already know about AWS or the cloud computer, I guess I would just like go through a few slides on that to just like refresh your memory, refresh your brain about like what career is like in AWS and like cloud computing. So now let's quickly review like what cloud computing is all about. Excuse me. So cloud computing is an on-demand delivery of IT services over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. So you can think about it like using a light bulb or you're consuming electricity. And when you turn on the light, when you need to use it, and then you can turn off the lights where you are no longer using it. So you have access to IT resources and computers over the internet. That's cloud computing. And you only pay for what you use, basically. So I'm sure some of you will be asking, okay, so what was happening before the cloud? So before the advent of the cloud, we have what is called on-premise IT systems. So different companies and organizations, what they will usually do is to buy or they own and maintain their own physical data centers in their company. But now, with the advent of cloud computing, it now helps people to actually um, access all those IT resources in the cloud. It helps them to access those resources that they need on demand and when they need it, basically. So the cloud provides you with the same access or similar resources through the internet using a cloud provider platform. So this is the cloud. So you have everything that you need, but you are just using the internet to access the same servers, the same database, the same storage system, and what have you. Now, how does the cloud work basically? So cloud basically, like I mentioned, it's you have access. So a cloud provider like AWS gives you access because AWS already owns some data centers across the world. So they give you access to all those services that you need to run, and you don't have to have, maybe access to any servers or any data centers that you want. Now, let's just look at, okay, what does AWS do? What does they provide at the moment? Please confirm if you can hear the video I'm about to play. There will be a sound, but if you can't hear, let me know in the chat, and then I'll just skip it. Okay, I think I can see the signal that there is no audio. Okay, that's fine. I think let me not audible. Okay. Let me. Okay, let me stop sharing and then I will share again. And hopefully that should then make it. So share tab audio. Okay. I'm actually sharing my audio as well, so it is actually supposed to be audible. So let's try that one more time. Okay, also share system audio. Okay, I think I found it. Allow. Okay, cool. So I'm going to try that one more time and then you should be able to hear the audio now. Please confirm by a reaction. Thank you.
AWS is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform. Millions of customers trust AWS to power their infrastructure and applications. Organizations of every type and size are using AWS to lower costs, become more agile, and innovate faster. AWS provides on-demand delivery of technology services via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. You can use these services to build and run virtually any type of application without upfront costs or ongoing commitments. You only pay for what you use. AWS gives you more services and more features within those services than any other cloud provider. This makes it faster, easier, and more cost-effective to move your existing applications to the cloud and to build anything you can imagine. From infrastructure technologies like compute, storage, and databases, to emerging technologies such as machine learning and artificial intelligence, data lakes and analytics, and Internet of Things. Building on AWS means you can choose the right tool for the job. For example, AWS offers the widest variety of databases that are purpose-built for different types of applications. With AWS, you can leverage the latest technologies to experiment and innovate more quickly. We are continually accelerating our pace of innovation to invent entirely new technologies you can use to transform your business. Like pioneering the serverless computing space with the launch of AWS Lambda, which lets developers run their code without provisioning or managing servers. And AWS built Amazon SageMaker, a fully managed machine learning service that empowers everyday developers and scientists to use machine learning without any previous experience. We are constantly expanding our global network of AWS regions, so you can access AWS services to build and run your applications from anywhere in the world. Each of these regions has multiple availability zones that are physically separated from each other and connected by low latency, high throughput, and highly redundant networking. This makes it easy to design and operate applications that are scalable, fault-tolerant, and highly available. Our infrastructure is built to satisfy the security standards of the most risk-sensitive organizations. You also have access to the AWS Partner Network, which has thousands of systems integrators who specialize in AWS services, and tens of thousands of independent software vendors who adapt their technology to work on AWS. With the largest community of customers across every industry, AWS has unmatched experience and operational expertise you can depend upon for your most important applications in every imaginable use case.
Great. Okay. Now let's go to what are some of the benefits of why organizations are actually moving to the cloud. Now, this is just a few of them. Number one is speed and agility. So the cloud is helping companies to be able to experiment and innovate quickly. And for AWS customers, for example, it's helping them quickly spin up resources that they need. Basically, they can deploy hundreds or even thousands of servers just within minutes. And then secondly is elasticity. So this means that they can easily scale up and down with the needs of their business. So when the organization is going to need a lot of traffic, the cloud can accommodate that to be able to help them to scale up and down whenever there's traffic. And then there's a lot of cost savings because you're only paying for what you're using, right? And then the last one is deploy globally within minutes. So it helps them to be able to, because AWS has regions across the world, you can deploy your applications or your website across, different places across the world. So um, if you're curious, these are just, if the service categories that AWS has. So AWS has more than 200 services. And this is what really makes AWS different from other competitors. And these are the different service categories that there is. And now, I just also wanted to show, okay, which companies are building on AWS. Of course, there are millions of customers that are building on AWS, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with a few of them, but I wanted to highlight three of these. Now, I'm sure most of you would have Snapchat or Netflix, and you probably play video games. So these organizations are currently running on AWS at the moment. For people that love, Bollywood and love watching Netflix, Netflix is running on AWS. So all these organizations are leveraging cloud computing. They are leveraging the power of cloud to be able to serve their users and their customer base. Now, having said that background of cloud computing and AWS, let's talk a bit now about career, right? So, what are some of the roles that we have in AWS? And when you're thinking of roles, it's not just like technical roles. There are technical and there are non-technical roles. But I will just be highlighting a few of them. The first one here is solutions architects. Now, I'm a solutions architect myself, and basically solutions architects, they act like a technical advisor to organization. So customers will come to you to ask for how they want to implement something, or they will ask for best practices. So you're supposed to like advise them technically on what to do with their workloads on AWS. And then we have another role that is called professional service consultant, ProServe. Now, these are people like, if you love coding, if you love building things, maybe you love building things on the cloud or website. Now, this is the role for you because it's like a consulting department of AWS. So when customers come and they don't have expertise to build, then they can use our in-house consultant. So this is for people that love to build things, basically. And then technical account managers, they act as like managing customers' accounts. They help to build those relationship with customers and AWS and those business high level relationship. That's what an account manager does. Then we have things like the sales rep and then demand generation. Basically, they are just there to help find and identify prospective AWS customers. If you're someone that loves sales, or you're a good communicator, you love customer facing, you can negotiate and you can convince people about something, then demand generation or cloud sales rep is a very good one, right? So, and in terms of role, I wanted to, since I'm a solutions architect myself, I wanted to highlight like, okay, what the solutions architect role is all about. So the role is all about how can you bridge a bridge between the business and the technology side of things. So solutions architects are there to be able to help to bridge the gap between business problems and technologies, and then act like as an evangelist within the wider community. So you are a trusted advisor. Your customers come to you to advise them technically on what to do. And then you can also help to shape the direction of products as well, because you get feedback from customers that you're speaking to, and then you bring that internally within AWS into the product team. So if you're very curious, the day to day of being a solution director is like, maybe you are building a POC or a demo for customers. You are, of course, you have a lot of customer calls, you're speaking to them, you're helping them to review the architecture, you are helping to plan like events like immersion days and different presentations, and you are part of technical fit communities, which helps you to be in depth. So it's like different things, right? And one thing you also need to know in working for a company or building a career for a company that is in cloud computing or AWS is you also need to understand what businesses want. Like when you think of an organization or a company, what do they really want? For a business to grow, we all know that they need to have like a clear objectives of what they want to. And some of the goals for businesses is usually, oh, we want to increase our profit, we want to grow our brand awareness, we want to expand into new markets, we want to minimize cost. Of course, we want to, improve our customer satisfaction. So yeah, that is so once you understand what businesses want, then you'll be able to see, okay, how can I help them use technology or how can I help them use cloud computing to solve or to get what they want or to be able to help them to fulfill the objectives that they want to fulfill. So which is why organizations need people like that want to build a career in cloud or in tech. Organizations need people like you to be able to help them to use the right technology and the right framework for their growth. So you need to understand the overall objective or the high level goals that are put on the screen of organizations basically. And once you understand that, now what are the skills that you need? What do you need? In terms of career and all of that. I've put them into three part of the triangle, right? So there are technical skills, there are business skills, and there are soft skills, right? Which is very, very important. Now, and I think they are also self-explanatory, right? Because you can easily, understand what each of them mean. Now, in terms of the technical skills, they are of course the skills that you need technically. Let's say programming language, for example. So you have a knowledge of a technology domain area, and what I mean by that is software development or systems engineering or security or networking. You know how to code maybe one programming language, for example. So you need to have the technical skills to be able to thrive in tech or in cloud generally. And then there's the business skills. The business skills was what I was talking about in the last slide around you need to have a business acumen and an understanding of, okay, what do businesses want? What are their objectives? Because at the end of the day, you need to be able to think of how to use technology to solve that problem. And then the soft skills, I'm going to come to the soft skills very soon. And before I go to the soft skill, I just also wanted to go through what my career was like, maybe just to for some of you. So for me, interestingly, personally, I actually didn't start in a tech background or an engineering background or a tech background. Basically, I actually studied economics and finance, right? And then I was still learning different skills like SQL, like Excel, like Tableau, and then I was able to get a job after then. And it was while I was doing my job within NHS England. Then, as you can see, that they were doing like a project. They were migrating data from on-premise architecture to cloud environment. But then they were doing it on Microsoft Azure. So I put my hand up to like learn through that process. And within that 1 year of learning, I was able to do 4 different Microsoft Azure certifications. I was able to build experience, hands-on experience. And then 1 year after then, I then decided, okay, you know what? I want to work for one of the cloud providers. And that was how I applied for my AWS role and I got the AWS role. So interestingly, when I got my role in AWS, I didn't even know anything about AWS as at then. It was only Microsoft Azure I learned and I know. So, and for graduate program, for some of you that might be looking for internship or graduate programs, you are not even expected to like maybe have any certifications. because you are going to do all of that when you come in into the role. So that has been my own journey presently, and I've been at AWS since September 2022. Now, let's talk about soft skills now. Now, soft skills is very important, and it's not just in career in tech. I think generally, because soft skills is what really sets you apart from other people within, maybe even as your student. And one of the major soft skills that I would just highlight here is communication. Like, you need to know how to communicate technical or complex topics to like business people, or be able to explain it better to other people. So you need to know how to communicate very much so to people based on the recipient of the message that you are trying to give out. And then you need to be curious, because your curiosity is going to drive you to be asking why. Oh, why this, why that, how does it work, why does it work that way, what would the solution be like, what are some of the pain points. Because even as a solution architect at AWS, when we are speaking to customers and clients, we ask them different questions because we want to try to gather all those information and understand what's really happening with them before going to then advise them or answer their questions, which is very important. So curiosity, very important. And then courage. So at Amazon, there's a saying that we say that, is it a one-way door decision or a two-way door decision? Because most decisions can be reversed. So you need to have the courage to make decisions, especially if it's a two-way door decision, because speed really matters. So courage is going to help you to have that speed. And then compassion is the last one, right? So you need to have sympathy and empathy, because you'll be working with people, you'll be interacting with different customers, within the organization. So there is that compassion that will underpin all the actions that you're going to be taking. Great. So what are some high-level career advice and roadmap that I would love to give? I think the first one is, you need to have a general knowledge of the tech domain. So by general knowledge of the tech domain, what I mean is that you need to have a general knowledge of things like systems development, security, analytics, networking, the IT world. Basically, you need to know how the internet works. If you're already learning programming language, that's already really good. So you need to have a knowledge of at least one of the tech domain or one of the programming languages, which will really help. Then the second one is hands-on experience. So hands-on is the most important part of learning, because you are learning by doing, you are learning by experience. So you need to build the hands-on experience. Like, think of a project, think of coming together with friends or with some people to say, okay, can we build this project, can we work on this? And interestingly, there's vibe coding now going around. There's so many tools that you can use to vibe code. Just have an idea and then the code will be written for you. So work on different hands-on projects or hands-on experience. AWS has like the free tier account or access that they give you a few dollars to be able to play around with. And AWS also has AWS workshops on AWS Builder. So I can send it across. If you just wanted to explore, what are the projects I can do? There's so many projects that you could do, and I could send a few of them across. But place an importance on, okay, I want to build an hands-on experience. I want to build projects. I want to build a portfolio. I want to do something. And then the next is get certified. This is very important because certification is going to help to validate all the knowledge that you have. So AWS, for example, has different certifications. You can start from the cloud practitioner. There's the AI practitioner at the moment, and then you can work your way through. But those certifications are important to be able to help your knowledge, basically. And the last is leverage networking and mentorship through personal branding. And what I mean by this is both offline and online. Now, offline is go for events, meet people in person, attend events, communicate with people, meet people, ask for their contacts, speak, touch base with them later on. That's very important. And online is by building your personal brand on LinkedIn, for example, which is, one of the big platforms out there. And this is very important because networking would help you to go faster in your career because you learn from people's experience. You learn from other people that have gone ahead when you network. So that is very important for you to start doing at this stage. And because I personally, I love to push on LinkedIn and put a lot of content there. I thought to actually give a few slides on networking on LinkedIn and LinkedIn as a platform generally. If you have not been, maybe posting content there, and if you have not been thinking about it, I think this is going to like really really help. So let's talk a bit about that for maybe about 5 minutes or thereabout. So if you're asking, okay, why does LinkedIn matters for tech professionals right now? Number one is that LinkedIn has about 1.3 billion professionals or people that are on that platform. This means that it gives you access to a lot of people in the world. And I tell you that just 1,000 connections or followers on LinkedIn is much more than, in terms of quality now, in terms of quality, it is much, much better than maybe 10,000 on other platforms. So because of the quality of people that are there, the business decision makers are there, recruiters are there, so many opportunities are there, right? And which leads me to the next thing. Real opportunities are there on the platform. So you want jobs, speaking engagement, partnerships, different thing, internship, or you're looking like for a full-time role or relocation opportunities. There are so many opportunities there. And the next is it helps you to be able to showcase your expertise as well. If there's something that you're already doing, maybe you are already building your tech skills, you're already doing projects, you're already doing things, maybe in your little group, in your school as a student, you can showcase all those your expertise, put pictures, write something up about it, and let people know about it, right? Improve your visibility, which will then help your thought leadership on a global scale, because all of that fits into what's called thought leadership on a global scale. Now, for the platform itself, for LinkedIn itself, what do you need to understand in terms of the mental model behind it? Number one is that it is a 24/7 networking event that never sleeps, because people are there all across the world. People are there all across the world. So it is very important for you to know that, okay, this gives me access to a networking event. Even if I don't go for a physical networking event, just by being on the platform, I can get to meet different people. Then another thing you need to know is that there's something called authority bias. Authority bias. And that's the authority bias is the fact that people are more likely to trust and follow you, if they know that you have an authority in the space that you are talking about, right? So you need to allow your followers or people that are following you on their platform to see you as an authority, which means that the content you post, how you write, you need to speak from an expert perspective. You need to have expertise of what you're talking about. And the third one is halo effect. So people buy from people, and people tend to prefer people that are familiar with them. So you need to allow people to know you on the platform, to know what's up. So what's just happening is you need to be on the platform and spend time there and have this mental model, right? And in terms of engagement strategy, the first thing is reciprocity. Give first by engaging on your network post. So engage, engage, engage. And by engaging, what I mean is comment on other people's posts, lend your voice on what's happening, congratulate someone on the platform. So engage and comment on other people's posts, because even by doing that alone, you are improving your visibility on the platform, even as a student on the platform. Maybe it's someone did a project, someone passed a certification, put a comment, celebrate them, because when your time comes as well, they would also give that back. And then send connection requests to people that you meet, whether people that you want to be like or an organization that you want to work at, or maybe whether a recruiter say, oh, I'm studying this in this university, I'm curious about cloud, I'm learning, but I just wanted to connect with you in case any opportunity comes for an internship. That is a personalized connection request, right? And then, follow up with conversations on people and genuinely connect, and try also not to like bug people too much. Don't say, oh, I need a job at the organization. Just try to at least start with a conversation first, get to know people, and network, and then from there, hopefully, opportunities would then come, right? And so, what are some of the best practices that I just wanted to mention? If you have the time to create content, that is very important. Create content, put images, put carousels, do videos if you have a flair for communication and camera, and spend time on the platform itself, because the more time you spend on the platform, the more you see other people's posts that are really good, the more you interact with people, the more you see what other people are doing. So that is very important. And then write about AI, Gen AI. I mean, those are join conversations around that, because that's very important at the moment right now. And when things are happening in your life, or maybe in school, you are learning something, have like a parking lot document that you can just quickly drop things that, okay, this could be something that I could write about. This could be something that I could create a content about if you want to. And okay, because of time, lastly, I just wanted to give like a few interview tips for anyone that want to, come into Amazon, for example, or even some other organization. The first part is for you to find a role that you want to apply for, and then apply to it, and then submit your CV. And then the second, most times, the second part of that process is then for you to have a phone interview. And the phone interview basically would be like maybe with a recruiter, or maybe with an employee of the organization, right? Um, and they will be going through what we call Amazon leadership principles, and you can check on this later. They want to know if you fit with the organization. They want to know if you know about the role. But I mean, for a graduate or for an internship level position, it won't be in depth, right? But at least you should know about the Amazon leadership principles. You should read the job description of what you're applying to. You should know what it's all about for the phone interview. But the most important part of the interview then is the loop. The loop. It is also leadership principles as well, Amazon leadership principle. And then there will be a lot of behavioral questions and role specific questions, right? So for a graduate or for an internship, they'll be asking you around, okay, what do you know about the tech domain area? Like I was mentioning, do you know how to use any programming language? Have you led one of your student groups, or have you like did a presentation in school? So all of these are very important. And then in terms of some tips, know like the role that you're applying for. If it's like graduate roles, internship, read the job description to really know what's expected and what's about. Then the second one I would say is to learn and be curious. Like this is very important. You need to show enthusiasm. You need to show that even if you don't know something, you are very teachable and you are coachable and you are eager to learn. And then the next thing is critical thinking. So you need to because you will have different customer requirements, you have different challenges, so you need to understand very well. Even as interview, you can show your critical thinking, that you can say, oh, why does this customer have this problem, why does this client has this problem, how can we help them? So show your critical thinking, right? And then the last is prepare. Just prepare for every interview as if it's your last one, right? So use data points, use numbers. Like I led three of us in a group assignments. We were able to get this. So use data points, use numbers if you have, And very important for interview generally is use the STAR method when you're answering questions, which is situation, task, action, and result. STAR, situation, task, action, and result, especially for behavioral questions. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I think that's all I have for this evening. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you're there. And then, yeah, feel free to say hi, and then we can definitely have a chat. And I also have this link for AWS Key Builder and certification. If you are very curious as well, you can have that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Olushola, for an outstanding session packed with actionable insights on building real world cloud skills, crafting DevOps career roadmaps, and expanding professional networks. Your journey from economics to AWS mastery truly inspired all of us. Special thanks to our organizers and platform team for making this seamless online experience possible. Let's stay connected and build those cloud careers together. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. The students can leave.